Welcome everyone, and thanks for joining. In this video, we're going to start talking about fixing the composition component in Caspian and PulsePoint. Then we're going to start migrating code in the composition component to have separation of responsibility in this case. And then we're going to start implementing search and pagination. For large data set, you need a pagination because you don't want to load all the data into your table, because you want to paginate, because you have more than 100 or whatever, you need to paginate or implement infinite scroll, things like that, because that is more convenient way when you data start to grow. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start from where we stay in previous video, because remember we was implementing the composition component, which failed in this case because the pattern which I was following, it was not the correct one. So I'm going to npm run dev, and as you can see in my git changes, there is no changes. But what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open and go to dashboard. Okay, so as you can see, nothing changed. But when I go to users, we implement this in previous videos. So following from here, what we're going to do is that we're going to start working on the users section. So dashboard, users, and this is the component section. We're not going to touch currently, but we're going to order the users. Okay, first of all, remember we was working in the user. We want to separate the dialog to a component and open it from the index HTML. So first of all, what we're going to do is that I'm going to start copying this section, because I haven't uploaded the framework, so it was my bad to implementing the composition component, and I want to fix that issue. As you can see, 38, but we're going to update the framework after finishing the implementing the composition component. So I'm going to go to the components directory, open the dashboard, and go to the users, in this case, create update dialog, and create update dialog. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy and paste what I have cut from the index HTML, which is the users row. So I'm going to start importing, in this case, the group field and the label and the input in this case. So start importing, import, import, import. Okay, now I have the information what I need. So first of all, I'm going to remove this, because here was the issue where I cannot get working the composition component same like React does. So what I'm going to do, that I'm going to import the create update dialog from the component, in this case from this component. I'm going to remove this because I feel confident today that I'm going to get through. So import whatever. Okay, missing. Okay, first open dialog. In this case, we can name it, but I'm going to stay with open dialog in this case. So what we're going to do, to be more explicit in this case, let's say open create update, and there we go. They are helping us. New user. Okay, we have some issue. There we go. Okay. Create user. Okay. I think we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to pass this, in this case, create update dialog, open dialog in this case, and set open dialog, which it's the props in this case. Open dialog props, set open dialog props. But what I'm passing is that the variable which I have in my index. Okay, first of all, I'm going to save, and we're going to get the previous error in this case, and we're going to start fixing. In this case, it's a expression evaluation fail is edit, and it's edit user. We have another issue section, because remember we have this information, in this case the username and set user we have declared in the users row. So what we need to do is that we can do it's pass as a props too. So this way we can capture to the dialog section, and we can start working on that information. So what we're going to do is that first of all, we just want to display the dialog. So I'm going to remove all this information from here, because then we're going to get back to this. So dialog content, no header, nothing, just I'm going to put a p tag here and then say hello from dialog. That's all what I'm going to do. Of dialog. There we go. We missed the closing tag, and no error. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to do a composition component, because it's where I failed how to implement correctly. Okay, when you are doing composition component, it's very important that you realize how you're going to pass props and what props you need. First, I want to open the dialog, and the dialog it's going to have two information, which is the variable to open the dialog, and the setter in this case, which I'm going to set when I open the dialog. So true, false, so on. So when I come to the create update dialog, this is correct. I'm not going to touch anything in this file. So I'm going to come to create update dialog. Remember, pulse point follows React component pattern. So I need to return single parent tag. So what I'm going to do is div, and here the magic happens. The magic is that in my previous, I haven't implemented correctly. So I'm going to copy this, open dialog. I'm going to say I have, you can name whatever you want, the props that the component receive in HTML in this case. But I'm going to name same as the props which I'm passing from Python to HTML. So the dialog, and what we're going to do is that now I need the set, in this case, set and set. So this way I have the information which I am passing from the dialog, from the Python to HTML. Then we have the dialog which have open, and we're going to pass using mustache, in this case, the open dialog. But this open dialog, it's not this open dialog, it's this open dialog, which in previous video I failed to explain, because afterward I realized, I said, oof, okay, And the another one is that the dialog needs an open change, but in this case I named set open dialog, so I'm going to pass in the mustache. This open change is for the dialog component, not what I'm passing from the composition component. So now let's save this and come back. As you can see, there is no error logs in the browser. So what I want is now we're going to start doing things. When we click here, voila, close. And what about Daniel Gonzalez? When we click here, we open the dialog. Easy as that, and which I get complicated by myself. So it was my bad how I was trying to fix the composition component. So as you can see, easy as this, we already fix, or we have our composition component dialog. So next, how we can get the information which we are providing or when we want to update a user. So to capture the user information, I'm going to set another props in this case, and I'm going to call this user. So the user going to be in this case string, and I'm going to set to none in this case because oops, when you are creating the user, there is no need to have the user information, so the user going to be null. But when you are updating, you need the user information. So it's very important that you need to know that that should be optional or required, because when you are creating, you can't pass the user information. So but when you are updating, so selected user, it's the one which we're going to pass. So I'm going to search for user, and then I'm going to pass the selected user in this case. So let's come back to our component, and inside what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a script tag. I'm going to put pp effect in this case, and I'm going to print the changes when user logs. No, I'm going to set a console log user. So this way I'm going to know that user it's been passed. So as you can see, there is no user variable defined. The issue is that I need to declare the variable and say user. And remember, this is what coming from Python, and this is the variable name which we can use inside script tag or in mustache. So easy as this, we have save, and then we have user null. But when I press open, and there we go, we got edit user, which is coming from the index file, and the user which it's coming from the user script. So what we're going to do is that, let's say hello from dialog, and we want the user name. So we're going to print the username next to the in this case user. So the issue is that, as you can see, the user is currently it's null, so there is no there is an issue which is evaluating that we can't pass null. So what we're going to say that user can be null. So question mark, and there we go. Let's refresh. And so when I open, in this case, there is no user because it's null. But when we click any of the current user, when I click, I have the username, easy as that, we have complete the dialog. So what we're going to do is now we need to focus on updating or creating the user. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy the RPC. What this is going to have in this case, the information what I need in this case. So let's see, because there is repeated render page. Oops, there is no render page. Attribute, go away. There we go. I think we validate RPC Prisma. Okay. Now the data in this case, the data, we need to fix the data. Create dictionary is not assignable to data. Okay, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy this information, in this case the dialog, and start working. Okay, so I have the is edit mode, which currently when I create new user or edit user, I need to pass this information. But what I can do is easy as this. We can say that the edit mode is going to be available when user it's been it have information, no? So what I'm going to do is that when user, in this case, const is edit mode, we're going to have false. Set the username to user email, user password. So this way, even we don't need to have declared user email password, but what we're going to do is that when the user there we go, username, user email. Okay. Okay, now let's open. There we go, user email and the secret password. But remember, what we want to do is that we want to say that that if user in this case is edit mode, it's going to be true, else false. Easy as this. So what next we're going to, oops, what about set. Okay, there we go. Next, I think this set, it's edit. We're going to get rid of this because we don't need that edit mode, because we are already using the current user, in this case the selected user. So we're going to remove this. In this case, let's remove this section because there is no need to have. And now we're going to start working on create user. There we go. So what we're going to do before we send in the request, in this case to create the user, we're going to print the payload and just return to confirm that we are sending the correct information. Okay, so now in this case, I'm going to open a new and fill the information, save changes. Okay, set loading is not defined. Okay, so we're going to define the set loading in this case. Um, let's define the set loading. There we go. Okay, selected user in this case, it's not going to be selected user, is user in this case, user. There we go. Save. Okay, now we have the payload information. We are sending the email, the ID is null, name, and the password. As you can see, the information is correct. Okay, the good part of this is that now we have complete separation of the create and update and the index in this case, which is responsible for listing the users. Okay, so now we want to start fixing the database, but before we're going to remove the return because um, we're going to start using. Okay, let's see in this case it doesn't have email. There you go, leave blank to keep unchanged. Good. So we're going to update this user. Let's save changes, and there we go, server internal server error. So what we're going to do is that we're going to come here and I'm going to start fixing this, but I'm going to copy and give here to fix the issue. Copy, and then you're going to have the fixed code in this case because create update, yeah, look that right. Okay, even we can put a conditional in this case. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that first we have the data in this case. We want to update. I didn't create this code. As you can see, I give here to start analyzing and create. So in from here we're going to start using quite a bit artificial intelligence to do some tasks, and you're going to see how artificial intelligence helps following pulse point and Caspian pattern. But I do want to show how to build from scratch, and the intention was that show you the architecture in this case. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to um, update the user information in this case. So there we go. We have a issue here. Okay. We want to run npm run dev, so we want to start running from here. So let's go to the network tab. There we go. Okay, so let's try to update the user. Okay, there we go. Payload, user ID, name, password. Now the response, it's internal server error. So await function call data. So we need to send it, let's see, what's up. Payload, we have the ID, name, email, and password. Sending the payload correctly. Right. Okay, the email. Set unexpected keyword argument email. It's correct. Even we can't validate here as email because we have email validation in this case, but it's quite strange in this case because let's see what's up with email in this case. Okay, email is unique, but it's optional and okay, email. Strange. Let me analyze this information. Okay, let's wait a bit. So this way we're going to start here going to analyze it. And now we're going to migrate the delete because composition already working. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to come in this case in user components. I'm going to put delete dialog.py. Here we go, Caspian. Okay, so the same idea in this case. We're going to have delete dialog.html, and what we're going to do is that we're going to cut this information and paste here. I'm going to start importing. Okay, there we go. So we already know that we need a single parent from where we're going to share the prop. So open dialog is the prop name, and say open dialog, it's going to be the open change. So this, in this case, the same idea which we have from create update. Oof. This same idea we're going to copy and paste because there is no difference. And then we're going to import from Caspian. Let's remove import which we are not using. So this way we have this alert dialog. And now what we're going to do is that now we have delete dialog, and there we go. So now when I click delete dialog, this the delete dialog should open if everything's gone as expected. So there we go. So now when I click delete, are you sure? No. So what we're going to do is that we're going to come and say select the user. We are already passing. Now we need to delete the user because we don't have any information to delete. So we come delete dialog and create a script tag, pass the function information. And now what we're going to do is that we need let's get rid of the username. There we go. Name. Okay, so there we go. Loading, deleting. It's not provided. Yes, I know. Okay, so now we need to provide the where we have the loading. Cons loading. There we go. Fresh. Okay. Now let's implement the delete user. So we're going to remove from the index. We're going to remove this one too because we are not using anymore. Let's cut this information from here, and now we can get rid of these imports which we aren't using. So now in delete.py file, I'm going to copy and paste and start importing dependencies. This map, yes, and there we go. So let's give a try to delete user. Now we're going to delete the last user, in this case, continue. Let's see. No, selected user is not defined. So we don't have selected user, but we have user. So this, so we're going to use user instead of selected user. So the good part of the props is that when you pass, you can use it in your script tag and in your mustache file. So there we go. Now let's give a try. Continue. yes, deleting, and set users is not defined. So the the idea is that we're going to pass the user and the set user, because remember we're going to update the user when we delete or create. So it's very important that you need to handle all those information. So what I'm going to do is that when we create an update, we need the set user information, and then we're going to get the set user information from the, in this case, the set users, because we need the information to update the table. Okay, so I'm going to come to delete, in this case delete dialog, and I'm going to pass, or first I'm going to get the set user, in this case, and set users. I think this should always be provided, but let's save. In this case, it's going to set users, should be set users. And now what we're going to do is that we're going to go to create update dialog, and we're going to get the set users to set users, set users. Now there we go, and let's save. And now we have the delete information. Let's try and continue. And the asset user, we, okay, the thing is that if I refresh, I think the user going to get deleted, because remember when I refresh, the database is going to reload. So okay, now I'm going to go to delete dialog. Instead of set users, what we want, we need the set users. Props, in this case, set users. There we go, and that's all what we need. So I'm going to do the same idea here, in this case, set users. There we go, and I think we are setting the users. Yes, good. Okay, now first thing first, try to create, save. We have issue, refresh, but we create the users. As you can see, it's we creating the user, but we have issue in this case, but we have the um, the name, the email, and the created in this case. But what we're going to do is that we're going to delete this information to confirm that we are deleting correctly. We delete. Okay, so users is not defined. And delete users, loading response. Okay, users. We aren't passing users. Okay, I think here we have such a decision to take. So what we're going to do is that we're going to change props name. This is going to be users, and we're going to pass the users. Yes, the users. Yes, and then now what we're going to do is that we're going to pass the selected user and selected user. So we're going to pass in both. Yes, and then I'm going to come that I'm going to duplicate here, so it's going to be users, here users, and then what I'm going to do is that I'm going to copy the same line and then paste, selected user, there we go. So what we're going to do is that we're going to get the information from selected user, users, there we go. Okay, now create update. We need to pass the same, going to be the same idea in this case. Okay, select user, select user, yes, 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 and I think now it's completed. Okay, there is a nice. Okay, let's try to create. Yeah, fill, save, and there we go. Now we have, okay, this is so nice because as you can see, I get rid of almost everything the um, from the users. Select the users, but sure, delete it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now let's give a shot to delete user. Continue. Say reference set open alert dialog is not defined. Okay, delete dialog. So this is going to set open dialog. There we go. Ooh. This was moving around until we get through. So now I think finally. So there we go. We have our CRUD completed, and now we can do let's say let's update, and now we have the user being updated. Now Cyrus Rivera, we're going to Cyrus Rivera, and there we go. So Cyrus Rivera, let me see what happened here. Okay, Nero Hendrix. Save changes. Okay. Email ID. No, there is an issue. Yes, there is an issue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clean up the delete dialog. It's working as expected, so I'm not going to do anything. So validated ID, in this case, I think it's having issue. Let's see what's up. Print. Let's save, and now we're going to start debugging, because it's very important that you understand that once you create your CRUD operation, only you create once in this case, because this was serious about how to create CRUD, but as you can see, it's starter kits. When you got the code, you can give to artificial intelligence and fix, but I'm creating from ground up. So I'm going to say that I'm going to change the user, and I'm sending the ID. Now it's closing. Okay, there we go. Recent received data, user creation, update ID, none. There is no ID. How so? Payload, ID, we have ID. Okay, we don't have any IDs, but we're going to print before print ID, and let's print the ID in this case. So we're going to print the ID. Now let's give a shot. User, there we go. Receive the ID, receive, and now we're getting back the ID number, which in this case validate CUID looks like it's failing. So let's see what we have here. User default CUID. Return the value instance of. Okay, looks like this is the issue where this should be returning or validating with the library, but it's validating with the with regex in this case. I think there is a let's see if we fix this issue. Now we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. While it processing, we're going to start preparing the pagination section. So for pagination, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to implement. What I'm going to do is give artificial intelligence, follow the pattern and implement. So that's what I'm going to do in this case. So you can use any of your validation. Let's see, what is UID? Let me just fix this section of CUID. Okay. I'm going to use, in this case, Gemini to set the okay. I'm going to use Gemini in this case to implement in the pagination index.py index.html. So there we go. And so this is important. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to pulse point. I'm going to search for the LLM section. So I'm going to say I'm using pulse point and set .cm colors schema. Okay, I'm going to put in Pro in this case. So let me copy for any issue. So let me review. Okay, there we go. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to you can copy and paste this. So in the end, what I'm going to do is globals.css and paste this. So this way, it's going to have a complete context and follow the pattern. No? So now we're going to tell EA what we want to implement. So let's say implement search and pagination. Generate complete files code and tell him that your code is currently working as expected. So my current code is working as expected, and then we'll just send it and let's see what it's going to come up with. Okay, there we go. We have our index, and now we have our okay, always. There is no impulse point. Use HTML native hidden. Okay, there we go. I think that. Okay, let's give a try. But what we're going to do is that before we use artificial intelligence code, we're going to save our code, the progress. Okay, now copy, close this. Okay, I think it's ordered by, in this case, it's ordered by and where class. Okay, so I'm going to save just for this section, and then I'm going to pass my schema that prisma to need to understand what I am, what my, how my model looks. There we go. Okay, let's see. Okay, and there we go. Order by, and now let's copy the HTML section. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, paste. Chevron right, import, import, next, search. Okay, let's see. As you can see, artificial intelligence is very good for this kind of situation when you are just you already have your pattern and you want to do. So now we're going to, let's say I'm going to search for Daniel in this case. Daniel. Let's see what's up. Daniel. Oh, nothing happened. It mean to that mean it's not searching. So Daniel, no, it's not searching. It's not doing anything because even if it doesn't have search query, Okay, it's not searching in this case. Okay, but anyway, we have pagination, which is very, very good. So what we're going to do is that, um, let's say that we are having 5 page size. Okay, there we go. We have 5, and now the next. Oh yes. What the thing is that we are using this section, which is not correct. I don't want that. I just want to um, use RPC in this case. So we're going to use RPC to get the information. Okay, so to let him follow RPC information, we can't pass the create or delete user pattern in this case. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to create tell him that the pagination should be now follow RPC. Create update dialog.py. Okay, so what I'm going to tell that follow our RPC to paginate and search users. Create the HTML. So this way it's going to start following this pattern because I'm suggesting this, and let's see what's happening. Okay, there we go. Follow the create update RPC pattern to implement, in this case, to implement yes. I think I'm not a good prompt engineer. Oh my gosh. Yes, and for update, I think I'm going to leave alone the ID in this case. Validate ID is going to be pending because it's very important that currently it's not working and need to be reviewed. Yep. But there we go. So now when we want to update the user, um, loading again, we're going to fix that too. So user, now let's change user information, and there we go. We have our information, and let's see if this finish. Okay, there we go. Now, order by, save, and I think it's going to work. Okay, there we go. So now we have the create user, and let's see if this search is working. Um, yes, it's working now. But I don't want the search here. I want right to the top. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to move the search in this case. No, I don't want. There. There we go. Okay, we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to open close all this in one div, or just add margin bottom about 4 in this case. What? The margin bottom 4. There we go. So and from now we want to just search. Looks like there is a like cutting edge. Com layout. X, 6. It's too much. Let's do 4. Okay. Oof, very good. And now let's return only 5 user instead of 10 to have a pagination. There we go. Okay. Now I think we have complete almost everything we need. So I'm going to do is that I'm going to save this information. And now I'm going to update project. Okay. Okay, now we have complete the the we have update complete the framework. So this is going to be true, true, save, and I think I missed to update some things in the framework. What we're going to do in next video. So what I'm going to do is just save this information npm from dev, and we'll to sum up what we have finished doing. It's our CRUD operation and successful way. So all right, let's go. First, create, save. We have yeah. Now we have user. Next, let's update this user information. So let's say edited. Now we have, and then let's remove random bird. There we go, and we have completed. And now let's search for channel. There we go. Okay, so to sum up, as you can see, we have fully completed the CRUD operation in this case, and we have pagination. And in next video, in this case, we're going to just to finish everything and complete, we're going to just add toast, in this case toast notification, and with that we're going to finish the dashboard starter kit for Caspian. And thanks for joining, happy coding, and see you in the next video.